Donald Trump publicly stated that he intends to seize Greenland by any means, even if European allies are against it. And if previously European governments did not realize the seriousness of Donald Trump's threats to seize Greenland, now they understand it and are desperately searching for a plan to stop him. The European Union has already stated directly that Europe must be prepared even for direct military confrontation in order to maintain control over the island. In Brussels, they admit that Trump is aggressive and may take any step. Although for now, the State Department is suggesting simply buying the island from Europe for money. If Europe does not agree, Trump does not rule out a military takeover. That is why European officials are already preparing to send troops to the island, while at the same time preparing economic incentives for Greenland. This is the hot topic we are going to discuss with you. My name is Alexei Pecci. Let's discuss this topic together. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave any comment under this episode, and subscribe to my Telegram channel Peachy News. The link is in the description of this video, where we post breaking news as it comes in. So, United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio officially stated that he plans to discuss with Danish officials the issue of the United States acquiring Greenland next week. The White House reported that Trump would prefer to acquire the territory for money, but is also ready to send troops to seize it if the Danes are uncooperative. Amid intensified diplomatic efforts in Europe, French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot stated that he and his colleagues from Germany and Poland discussed a joint European response to Trump's threats. Next is a quote from Barrot. The question at stake is how to strengthen Europe, the European Union, in order to prevent threats and encroachments on its security and interests. Greenland is not for sale and cannot be seized, so the threats must stop. And as Politico reports, Europe has developed 4 options for responding to Trump's threats, and one of the options involves a military campaign to defend the island from the Americans. So option 1 is to still find a compromise. Donald Trump states that Greenland is vital to United States security interests and accuses Denmark of not doing enough to protect it from the growing military activity of China and Russia in the Arctic. Resolving the dispute through negotiations, as a result of which Donald Trump will get something he can present as a victory and which will allow Denmark and Greenland to save face, is perhaps the quickest way out of the predicament. In Europe, people recall Turkey's war against Greece and how NATO acted as a mediator in the negotiations. They say the same thing could be done with Donald Trump. Now let NATO send its troops, act as a mediator, and help Denmark and the United States reach some kind of agreement. In the United States, they openly state that they do not believe Greenland is properly protected. And so the United States representative to NATO, Matthew Whitaker, stated, and I quote, "As the ice melts and routes open up in the Arctic and the far north, Greenland is becoming a very serious security threat to the mainland United States of America." In response, NATO suggested considering accelerating defense spending in the Arctic and conducting more military exercises in the region, and the deployment of troops to ensure the security of Greenland and, if necessary, to reassure the United States. In addition, Europeans, primarily Europeans, should send their troops to this region. They should almost create an Arctic shield or Arctic guard there, as has been done, for example, in the Baltic Sea, meaning taking responsibility for the security of Greenland and the surrounding waters. The second option is to give Greenland a huge amount of money so that the people themselves oppose Trump's plans, and the Trump administration supports the movement for Greenland's independence. It's not very large on the island, but nevertheless there was one. And the essence of the White House's argument is that if Greenland leaves the Kingdom of Denmark and makes an agreement with the United States, it will simply be flooded with American money. The European unions of Denmark are trying to convince the people of Greenland that they can offer them better terms. And according to the draft proposal of the European Commission, Brussels plans to more than double its spending on Greenland starting in 2028. Let me ask, why start in 2028? Because the European Union's budget is usually planned for 7 years, and the current budget ends in 2027. And accordingly, these funds will be allocated in the next package. That's just how the European Union's financing system is structured. We're talking about a sum of 530 million euros over a 7-year period, that same budget period. That's also on top of the money Denmark gives Greenland under the self-government agreement. According to the same document, Greenland will also be able to apply for an additional 44 million euros from the European Union budget for remote territories that are part of European countries. And what's important is that the Europeans have finally proposed to invest money in mineral extraction on this island. The third option is retaliatory economic measures against the United States. And this is interesting. And now, let me quote, "The European Union has one powerful political tool that it could use to restrain Trump, a tool for countering coercion. The trade bazooka, created after Trump's first administration, allows the European Union to take retaliatory measures against trade discrimination." The European Union threatened to use this mechanism after Trump imposed tariffs on goods from the bloc, but postponed it in July 2025 after the parties reached a trade agreement. And here they will mention the status of Bernd Lange. He is the chairman of the European Parliament's Trade Committee. Our exports to the United States amount to just over 600 billion euros, and for about a third of these goods we have a market share of over 50%, and it is absolutely clear that this is also our strength. This is a hint that the European Union could impose simply draconian tariffs on American goods and stop the flow of its goods to the American market. This would be painful for everyone, but it's still a tool. And option 4 is ground troops. If the United States still decides to seize Greenland by military force, let's be honest, the Europeans are unlikely to be able to stop it. Nevertheless, from a legal point of view, Denmark would be forced to respond with military action. According to the 1952 decree, the troops must, quote, "immediately engage in combat without waiting for or requesting orders in the event of an attack on Danish territory." Greenland is Danish territory. That's why the European Union started considering deploying its troops in Greenland to increase the potential costs of United States military actions. But first, Denmark has to make such a request. Well, basically, these would be deterrent forces, and the idea is to flood Greenland with European troops before more American troops get there. In the meantime, Trump is sending Secretary of State Marco Rubio to Denmark to try to negotiate the purchase of the island. Trump already tried this, but it didn't work. And I think I'll stick to this position after all. That Trump's idea is to put maximum pressure on the Europeans so that they increase defense spending, send troops, and so on and so forth, in essence, to ensure security in this region. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like if you found this episode interesting and informative. You can support the work of this YouTube channel financially with any donation. Just use the QR code on your screen or the links provided. The video description clearly states, support the Alexi Peachy channel in any format you prefer. Thank you for any support. That's all for now. Take care and goodbye.